Classic, which is one of my favorites, scrambled eggs. I love making scrambled eggs when I'm gonna be making it for a large amount of people because taking time to fry an egg one at a time just isn't ideal when you have a large group of people. So I'm cracking in some eggs. I like to use free run or organic when possible. I have some unsweetened nut milk, and I think this was actually oat milk. And then I'm adding in some chopped up chives along with some pepper and sea salt. Give that a good whisk until everything is well combined. You don't want to over mix it because you can make the eggs a little tough. But basically once the egg yolks and whites are well combined, you can go ahead and bring this over to a heated nonstick skillet. I like to use a little bit of unsalted butter. You could use salted as well and take out the salt in the eggs. But I'm gonna just let it heat up, let the butter melt, and place in my scrambled mixture. Now, I'm very picky about my scrambled eggs, and I've shown this before, but what I like to do is using a rubber spatula, I start from the outer edges of the pan and I kind of pull or push the eggs to the center, almost like I'm making ribbons with these scrambled eggs. And I don't wanna over mix it because then you just get these really small pieces of scrambled eggs. If you want them nice and fluffy, this is the best way to do it. And there you have it, basic scrambled eggs. By the way, I'm gonna have all the recipes linked over on my blog. A link is down below. Next up, we have another classic, omelet. So for an omelet, pretty simple. You're gonna crack your eggs into a bowl, add in some unsweetened nut milk, season it with some black pepper and sea salt, and whisk to combine. So once again, we're gonna heat up a large nonstick skillet with a little bit of butter. You could also use coconut oil for this, whatever you like to use. And for omelets, I like to add in some veggies. So some of my go-tos are some mushrooms and asparagus. Asparagus is in season right now, so you can't go wrong. And I'm just gonna saute them for a bit just to slightly cook them, and then I'm gonna add in my scrambled eggs. You can transfer the veggies to the bowl, mix it, and then go back, but I just like to do this method. And I'm just gonna cook it on low and slow, and I like to even top it with a lid just to kind of cook the top. And I mean, I can never flip an omelet perfectly, but I tried my best. It broke a little bit, but I just kind of, did what I could. So I flipped it over, put the lid on for a little bit longer because the top was still really wet, and then I just flipped it again. So I kind of did like a little crepe action when they fold it in four. And really, it doesn't matter what it looks like because it tastes delicious. And this is what it should look like. The veggies are cooked but still kind of crunchy, and it's just delicious. Option number 3 are, of course, just sunny side up fried eggs. This is probably one of my favorites because I'm one of those people, I like to dip my toast in a runny yolk. So you're just gonna add some butter to a heated nonstick skillet, crack in an egg, cook it until the eggs are white but the yolk is still runny, and you're good to dip. Another option, which is actually Mr. Matt's favorite, is Over Easy. He doesn't really love a super runny yolk. I don't even know how I'm dating him, but for this option, same thing, heat up a nonstick skillet with a little bit of butter, crack in an egg, season it with some salt and pepper, and I like to use a lid on top just to cook the top of it a little bit. You could also flip it, but that sometimes gets messy, and I just like this option. And there you have it. You know it's over easy when the yolk has a little bit of a white film over top. This next option is a egg in a hole, which funny enough reminds me of the movie V for Vendetta. Comment down below if you know that reference. They make this recipe in that movie, and it always reminds me of it. And Matt actually saw me make this and said the exact same thing, so I know I'm not alone. Basically, you're gonna take a cookie cutter and cut out a large circle in a slice of bread. You're gonna add some butter to a heated nonstick pan, put on your bread, and then crack in an egg in the middle. And it's not only fun to look at, but it's also fun to eat. And you just are gonna cook it. You can season it with some salt and pepper, put a lid on top so it actually cooks the egg. And then this is what it looks like when it's done. It's really fun to eat, even for an adult. I find this really amusing, and it reminds me of that movie every time. All right, next up, poached eggs. I learned this method after many months of backpacking in Australia and having no good nonstick pans to use in the hostels. So I started just boiling my eggs, and it takes a little bit of practice, but basically you're gonna bring a pot of water to a hard simmer, and then you're gonna add in some vinegar. Vinegar is key. And then give it a little swirl with your butter knife, and then slowly add in an egg. I like to add my egg first to a little dish and then add it into the boiling water. And you're gonna cook it for about 3 minutes for a nice runny yolk. Okay, I lost track at what number we're at, but next up is baked eggs. So I have 2 oven-safe ramekins that I have in a pan with some water. So they have like a little water bath, which is gonna help with the cooking. And then I'm adding in some creamer. This is actually a plant-based oat milk creamer that's like a Barista one, so it's a little bit creamier than a regular oat milk. I will link it down below. And then you're gonna crack in your eggs right into it. And this is just gonna make it so creamy and delicious. You can season it with salt, pepper. I'm adding in a little bit of fresh chives, and it's very gourmet. This is a great thing to do if you're cooking a few of them for some guests for brunch. You could just cook them all at once into an oven. And it's just like a fun way that I've never cooked eggs before, but I quite enjoyed them and highly recommend it. So pop these into the oven to bake, and this is what they look like when they're done. They look very fancy, but they're super quick to make. Next up, we have the classic hard-boiled eggs, although I'm gonna show you 3 ways. So you're gonna have a pot of water that is already boiling. This is the best way to get the right texture of the egg that you're looking for. So I'm putting in 3 because I'm gonna show you 3 ways. So we're gonna do soft, which I like to call dippy eggs, jammy eggs, as well as hard-boiled eggs, which is like the classic one that you use for egg salads. So make sure you set a timer so you don't overcook them. For dippy eggs, it will be 5 minutes, jammy eggs, 7 minutes, and 14 minutes for hard-boiled. Since eggs aren't see-through, it's really hard to know when they're ready, so I just like to set timers so I know exactly when they're done. Once they're done boiling, transfer to an ice bath, which I didn't show here, but that did happen. You can easily peel them just by cracking them with the back of a spoon and then peel away the shell and slice them in half or whatever you're gonna do with them, and this is what they should look like. And of course, eggs are just that much better when they're seasoned well, so add on some black pepper and salt, and you're ready for an egg party. All right, this next one is one Chloe was dying for me to make, and it is deviled eggs. This is like the best party appetizer. So you're just gonna cook your eggs hard-boiled style, then slice them in half and scoop out the cooked egg yolk, which is like the best part in my opinion. And you're gonna add in some mayonnaise, a little bit of salt and pepper, and then just whisk it up with a hand mixer. You want them super light and fluffy, and you can really add whatever seasoning you want in this filling. And then I'm just using a cookie scoop, but you could also just use 2 spoons, and you're just gonna fill them back up with that yolk filling. And the traditional way to have deviled eggs, in my opinion, is sprinkled with some paprika. All right, last but not least, and probably the coolest eggs I've ever made in my life, are cloud eggs. I saw this online months ago and I've been dying to try it, so I finally gave it a go, and it's one of my favorites. My mom actually was really impressed with these eggs. So you're gonna separate the egg whites into a bowl and save the yolks, set them aside. And you're basically making like an egg white meringue, and you're just gonna whisk it for about 3 minutes until you reach stiff peaks. And then you're folding in your seasoning so it doesn't taste like nothing. I have some salt and black pepper, and just using a rubber spatula. Be careful so you don't ruin that nice airy fluff you have going on, and then just fold that right in. Next, you'll need a baking tray, and you're going to just scoop on those white cloud egg whites onto it and into like some mounds, depending on how many egg yolks you used. I did 3, so I'm gonna make 3 little clouds, and you're basically just gonna make a little divot in the middle, which is gonna help hold the egg yolk once we put that in. They seem kind of complicated, but they were quite easy and they turned out great, so highly recommend them. Pop this into the oven just to cook the egg whites, and then now's the fun part. You like reunite the yolk with the egg whites, and then you're gonna pop this back into the oven just to cook those yolks. And this is what they look like when they're done. So if you like eggs as much as me, I hope you guys try these out. There you have it, Health Nuts, 10 ways to cook your eggs, whether it's for breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever the occasion. I just think that they're like the greatest food, and hopefully this video gave you some ideas. Leave me a comment down below letting me know which one out of the 10 ideas was your favorite, or maybe there's another idea that I didn't mention, because when I was doing some research, there were a lot of ways and a lot of fun egg hacks to cook your eggs. So let me know if you'd like to see an egg hack video. I can definitely do that for you guys. Cashew is chewing something. I gotta go grab her, but I'm gonna have a full blog post with all of the different methods so you guys can refer to. The link will be down below. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Click that red subscribe button down below. I post here on this channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thanks so much and have an excellent day. That was really corny, but I had to put it in there. Okay, bye guys.